back, everyone. This is Aviator with Aviator Games, and today I bring you part 4 of our RPG tutorial for Gdevelop 5. So in this video, we are going to do weapon switching. So when you buy your weapon and it goes in your inventory slot, we want to be able to equip that weapon, or when that weapon is already equipped, we want to be able to switch that weapon. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and we want to make sure we have those two variables, name and quantity, in in your second item, which I know I do. So as you see, I have name and quantity variables in there, and then also you want to make sure you have your equipped slot ready, and then go ahead and copy the slot text and name it slot text 2. That we're going to need that for. Actually, we don't need this one because um, I'm thinking that we're going to be counting the number of items we have in this slot, so we don't actually need that. So disregard that. Okay, so we have our equip slot. We have we have the two variables for the bow. Let's go ahead and go to game events. And the first thing we want to do, let's go to the equip slot. This very first one, we want at the beginning of the scene, we want to set the scene variable. We actually want to create the scene variable. You come over here to create that. This one's going to be called EQ slot ID. It's short for equipped slot ID. You can name that whatever you want, once again, and we set that to 0. Okay, this is going to be for later for when we want to load and save our inventory. Okay, now we want to come back up to here and we want to copy the sword item. Okay, because so everything we've done here, we want to copy this and we want to change that to the bow item. So I already did that. I pasted right here. So every place that you see the word sword or sword item, change that to either from like right here this would have been sword, so we change that to bow, and then this would have been sword item, we change that to bow item. Okay, and we do that throughout the code. Let's see, like right here, bow item, uh, bow item right there. Oh, actually that's not it. That's further down. Okay, so that's it for that. So, but like I said, we're basically doing the exact same thing, what we did for the sword item. And what's if you remember what this does, this adds that item to our inventory. Okay, now let's go ahead and handle equipping and switching uh, those equipped items from one to the other. Alright, so the first thing we're going to handle is the sword item. It's this one right here. So let's go ahead and let me walk you through that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check to see if the right button is released. Then we're going to check to see if that cursor or the touch is over the inventory slot. And then the last thing we're going to check is the item name of the inventory slot is equal to sword. So this is making sure that we do have, or that particular slot does have the sword. And if all three of these are correct, we want to come over here and we want to change the text of a scene variable selected item to the sword item's name. So it's trying to grab that. It's trying to grab the variable name from the sword item, and it's going to set that to. It's going to set the selected item to that name. Okay. So then it's going to come down to this very first one. This very first one handles if there's nothing in there whatsoever. There's no sword, there's no bow, so it's going to check to see if the equip slot is empty, and then it's going to check to see if our inventory contains a sword, and then the last thing, it's going to check to see if it's if if it's not equipped. Okay, so to check to see if it's not equipped, make sure you invert the condition. Okay, then it's gonna come over here, and I added this right here just in case uh, the bow was equipped. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna go to the player inventory, and then it's gonna look for the item named bow, and then if this is equipped, we don't want it equipped, so we want to unequip it. So we hit no. Okay, that's the very first thing we do. Then we do the same thing, but for sword. So we go to player inventory, sword, and then it's asking, do we want to equip it? Yes, we want to equip that sword. Okay. Then the last thing we want to do is we want to set that animation. We want to change the animation of that object, the equipped slot object, to sword. Okay. Now, right underneath it, like I said, this is both these are sub events for this one right here. Now we want to check to see if that bow is already equipped. So we first thing we do is we check to see if the equipped slot, the animation of the equipped slot is bow, and the inventory does contain a sword, and the sword is not equipped. And then if all those are true, then we come over here once again. We want to unequip the bow, and we want to equip the sword and change the animation to sword. Okay, and so we copy all this and do the same exact thing for the bow. So like I said, we just copy paste, and it's the exact same thing except for instead of it being a sword, it's bow. We're checking for bow. So and then this one right here is checking to see if the sword is equipped, and then set into bow. So it's the exact same thing except for it's for the bow. Okay, so let's go ahead and check that out real quick. Okay, so right now we have nothing. We can buy a potion. Okay, so all right, well now we want to buy a sword, but we also have enough money to get a bow, so let's go ahead and get that. All right, so we have these two things in here. If I right click on this, nothing's happening. It's not going to try to equip this. Okay, so now if I right click on the sword, it gets equipped. Okay, so now that the sword is equipped, but we don't want to use the sword. We want to use the bow. We want to equip the bow instead. So we just right click on the bow, and as you see, it switches to your bow. Now, just like how we set up this right here. Say you want to have a primary hand and a secondary hand. You can do the exact same thing um, for your equip, like you did for your inventory slot. So that's one reason why I created slot text 2, because you'll be copying and pasting, and instead of doing the for each object for the slot, the inventory slot, you'll be doing it for the equip slot, and then you'll be doing something similar like this, but just for your equip slot. That's all that. That's pretty much all that is. Okay, now we're gonna handle unequipping. Uh, that's both of those. So basically, we come here, we do another event. The cursor is touching the equip slot, and the right mouse button is released. And so to kill two birds or kill two birds with one stone, I just went ahead and put set sword and set the bow to as equipped, and I put no, and then I set the animation of the equip slot to empty. So let's go ahead and check that out. So got both of these again. Right click, and then we right click on this, and boom. This is set. This is set to empty, and we unequip the sword. Do the same thing for the bow. Unequip the sword. So that's basically it for that part. Um, I don't know if you guys want me to to show you how to equip. Like, okay, when we equip this, um, we can change the animation of the character to show the sword. Then if we equip this one, we can change the animation to the bow. I mean, it's actually kind of simple. We already doing it for for these right here for the slots. So let's say I'll just go ahead and just kind of talk about it and walk you through it just real quick. Okay, so let's say you have a regular sprite, doesn't have no weapons, but when you click on this, you equip the sword, and now he has a sword. So basically, what you the code which you would do is you would come over here. Uh, okay, so let's say here we go, the sword. Okay, so you add another action right here. So you will also come over here. You would go sprite animation of an image. Change the. You would just choose one of these, but let's stick to this one right here. Change the animation of a name and go to player, and you would pick the animation that has the sword or has the bow, and that's all you have to do. So whenever you would equip something, it would change the animation of the player, and that's it. So I guess we took care of that in this video too. So I guess that's it for this part of the tutorial. So in the next video, we're going to be doing dialogues, and we're going to throw in a couple of quests. Now also, I'm about to hit 100 subscribers, so right now we're at 82. So as soon as we hit 100, I'm going to do a raffle, and that person who wins, I will go ahead and pay for a whole year of the indie subscription plan. And if you don't know what that is, you come over here, you go to File, you go to My Profile, make sure you have an account set up, then you choose up subscription, and you have three options. You have Gdevelop Pro, you have the Gdevelop Indie, and you have the free one. So everyone has the free. So this is the indie section, and you'll get all this. And this will be my thank you for all your support and your encouragement to make these videos. And so, and the way I will announce the winner, I will announce it in the comment section under this video. So make sure you keep watching as soon as we hit 100. Because as soon as I hit the 100, I will go ahead and do that random draw or a random pick. So, like I said, once again, thank you for your support, and keep, if you like this video or like this series, make sure you hit that like button. And if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and hit that subscribe. I'll see you in part 5.